would like members to join me in observing a minute's silence following the passing of former Councillor Ian Gordon. Councillor Gordon was a councillor for Cullercoats Ward between 1976 and 1995 and St Mary's Ward between 1997 and 1998. I would also like to advise Council that former Councillor and Alderwoman Muriel Green also recently passed, and would like members to join again and observe a further minute's silence for Alderwoman Green. Alderwoman Green was a councillor for Wheatside Ward between 1982 and 2023. Could you all rise again, please? Elected Mayor, councillors and council officers, as I retire from my role as Chair, I would like to express my deepest appreciation to the Council Chamber for appointing me last year. Serving in this capacity has been an incredible honour and a privilege, and I am truly grateful for the trust and support you have shown me throughout the tenure. My chosen charity during my term was Shenmue Adventure Playground Trust, and I am pleased to announce they will be receiving £11,640 towards their fantastic work. Thanks to everybody who contributed to the cause. Thank you again. I would also like to thank all officers who have been there for me over the last year, especially officers from governance services and also legal who supported me prior to and during my council meetings. Representing North Tyneside as council and as chair has been an opportunity I have thoroughly enjoyed and one that I will not forget. And I would like to wish Councillor Steve Cox as deputy chair all the best in the year ahead. I would also like to thank two very important people, Ashley Willis and Carol Cawthra, for the help that they've given us right throughout the year, and sometimes real good help as well. So I've got some flowers down here for if Carol, I know Ashley cannot be here tonight, but if Carol would like to come forward, I'll give you a hand of the flowers. Right, we're moving on to item agenda 1, the election of chair for the 2024 to 2025 municipal year. Can I invite nominations for the position of chair? Councillor Grayson.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'd like to propose Councillor Steve Cox for chair of the council. I've known Councillor Cox for over 30 years, and I know that he's been a councillor. Well, I think he's been a councillor for over 26 years. I believe my maths is right. If it's not, don't tell my maths teaching son, okay? I'm confident he will be chair with honesty, fairness and integrity. And actually, we have seen that throughout his time as an elected councillor over the years. He's had a variety of roles, cabinet, chair of committee, numerous committees, and also quite enjoys planning committee as well. We've already seen many of his qualities as he had to step in to support the chair, Councillor Burgess, after the very sad loss of Carol during the municipal year. And I'd also just like to add at this point how well I think Councillor Burgess chaired the meetings in difficult circumstances and under unfair pressure from some in this chamber. So I'm sure your vote thanks will endorse that as well, but well done, Chair. Can I just, coming back to Councillor Cox, can I add my personal thanks to him for the support that he has given me over a number of years, particularly in this last year. I really have appreciated it, and he knows that. So thank you, Councillor Cox. I know he will have a busy year coming up, so I think he'll have to put his speed skating ambitions on hold for another year. I'm sure he will be a credit to North Tyneside Council, the residents and the borough as a whole in every aspect of the role of chair of the council. So it's my pleasure and honour to propose my friend, Councillor Steve Cox, for chair of the council.
Councillor Grayson, do you have a seconder?
I'd like to second this. Over the past year, I've had the privilege of working with Steve as my fellow councillor, and I fully support this proposal. Having worked alongside Steve, I quickly realised and witnessed he's extremely fair. He always listens to people from a very neutral place, and I think this is a key characteristic for the chair of this chamber. He is integral and always has a clear vision and passion for his work. I admire Steve's honesty and the way he can use his empathy to communicate his decisions to people. In a nutshell, Steve would make a great chair of the council because he's firm but fair, honest, integral, and can communicate with empathy, and he will always listen from that neutral ground, but will be able to take the right action for all when needed. And I'd like to wish him good luck if he gets his post.
Are there any other nominations? Okay, those in favour? Nine. Those against? 49 for, none against. Councillor Cox can now become chair of the council.
So I, Steve Cox, having been elected to the office of Chair of the Council of the Borough of North Tyneside, hereby declare that I take the said office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties thereof according to the best of my judgment and ability. Councillor Franklin.
Thank you, Chair, and can I congratulate you on your election as Chair of the Council. I trust that you and Debbie have a busy and rewarding year. I'm more than happy to propose Councillor Nigel Huscroft as Deputy Chair of the Council. Earlier this week, when I asked Nigel if there was anything he didn't want me to say tonight, he laughed and said, "You're not catching me out like that," which just means I'll make it up anyway. Nigel was first elected to the council as a Liberal Democrat in 1987, eventually becoming leader of his group when, in 2010, both members agreed it was his turn. During his time with the Lib Dems, I recall that he was a strong advocate for education, an interest he developed after leaving school, evidently. After many years in the wilderness, Nigel eventually left the Liberal Democrats and joined the Labour Party that he'd been voting for years. Some considerable time ago, Wendy and I attended Nigel's 70th birthday party at the Lindisfarne Club. And I couldn't help but marvel at how many friends he appeared to have, until I realised that he'd invited every member of the walking club that he's a member of. And these people will do anything. They'll walk miles for a free sausage roll and a piece of corned and potato pie. I suppose I should mention what it is about Nigel that I think equips him to carry out this role. Well, when I talk about a devoted family person, interested in education, clear and fair-minded, with feet firmly planted on the ground, it's obvious to one and all that I'm referring to Nigel Huscroft's wife, Veronica, or Von, as we all know her. Von is Nigel's greatest asset, and with her, he can't go wrong. I think both Nigel and Von will prove to be a great support to Steve Cox and Debbie as they perform their duties this year, and I think this appointment is well deserved after all these years. I'm happy to move.
Councillor Lott, do you have a seconder for that?
I'll second that, Chair.
Are there any other nominations? Okay. Councillor, those in favour of Councillor Huscroft, please show. And those against? That's 49 for and none against. Councillor Huscroft, congratulations on your appointment as Deputy Chair of the Council.
I, Nigel Huscroft, having been elected to the office of Deputy Chair for the Council of the Borough of North Tyneside, hereby declare that I take the said office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties thereof, according to the best of my judgment and ability.
We move to item 3, the vote of thanks to the retiring chair, please. Can I ask Councillor Mulvenner to propose the vote of thanks?
Chair, can I first of all congratulate both you and your deputy on your appointments as Chair and Deputy of North Tyneside Council. I'm sure you'll embrace the responsibility of your roles and be a credit to North Tyneside, both with its residents and our neighbours across the region in your role. As you are no doubt aware, you have a hard act to follow. It's hard to believe that it's 12 months has gone by since my colleague took up the post in the presence of his proud mother and family members. Little did we know at the time the personal trauma he and his family were coping with. However, this is a measure of the man. At that time of acceptance of the role, he stated he would treat everyone on an equal basis, regardless of political persuasion. It is my belief he did just that, despite political provocation and personal attacks at times from less experienced members. Therefore, I think we owe Councillor Burles a vote of thanks for his leadership and patience over the last 12 months. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Mulvenna. I also have, as the new chair, some comments I'd like to make going forward. And I would like to start by giving my personal thanks to Councillor Brian Burdes for his work as chair of the council over the last municipal year. I have known Brian for many years, and I knew he would be a great chair, and over the last year I have learned a great deal from him. It has been a difficult year for him personally, but beside that, he has chaired council meetings with skill, care and fairness, as he said he would when he first took up the office. He has also been a great representative of the council, both locally to the residents, but also the wider area, and I'd like to thank him very much for that. My next point is about the behaviour in council meetings. I'm very proud and honoured to have been elected as a councillor by the residents of Camperdown Ward and as chair of this council. Sadly, at the last council meeting was probably the worst I have ever seen the behaviour, and well below the standard that I feel would be acceptable. We must always remember that we are all here to represent our wards, which we've been sent here by the residents to do, and we are all equally elected, and we must treat each other, both members and officers alike, with respect. I will strive to ensure that this is reflected in future council meetings, and I ask for your support in each and every one of you for this objective. However, if the standards of behaviour within the chamber fall below what is expected, I will take appropriate action to maintain order. In chairing council meetings, I aim to do so in a way that will ensure that the meetings are conducted efficiently and impartially, importantly for me, in a way that respects the rights of all members and officers. This ensures that meetings can be seen by the community as being undertaken in a respectful manner, while also giving as many members as possible the chance to contribute. Of course, as part of a healthy democracy, there must be the opportunity to openly express differences of opinion. Sometimes those differences will be expressed robustly, and sometimes with passion. However, there's no excuse for disrespectful or inappropriate behaviour in the chamber by any member, and I will not tolerate such behaviour. I would remind all members that this authority has a legal duty to promote and maintain high standards of conduct by members, and that we are all bound by the 7 principles of public life, which include showing leadership by actively promoting and robustly supporting those principles. As chair, I will do my best to ensure that during council meetings, those principles are adhered to by all members. If I consider a member to be acting inappropriately or offensively during a debate, I will draw that to their attention. If that behaviour continues, then I will deal with that by moving that the member not be heard, or moving that the member be removed from the meeting if their misbehaviour continues. With your help, I am sure that I will never have to undertake that next step. In order to help the smooth running of meetings, I have asked that in future council meeting papers, a guidance note will be issued that covers issues that often arise during council meetings. This will have extracts from the council rules of procedure dealing with, amongst other things, the conduct of members and members of the public attending council meetings. I will chair meetings in a fair and even-handed manner, but I would remind members that my interpretation of the rules of procedures and other decisions that I take as chair are final and that are not open to challenge. If a legitimate point of order is raised and I deal with that, that is the end of the matter and is not open to debate. As a further effort to do what I can to ensure the smooth running of council meetings, I would like to extend an invitation to the leaders and deputy leaders of the political groups to come to a meeting in the next few weeks to help improve behaviour. This will allow me to explain what I would like from them as leaders and what they can expect from me as the chair of the council. I'm also extending that invitation to Councillor Wallace. Finally, I would like to end on a good note and extend my congratulations to all those who have been elected for the first time as councillors and to those who have been re-elected to the council. Those who have newly been elected, I apologise, as I do not, if I do not refer to you by name, but I will do my best to get to know you all as quickly as I can. It is an honour and a privilege for us all to represent the borough, and I wish you all well in your time as councillors. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm now going to move on to apologies for absence. And I have apologies from Councillor David Lilly and Councillor Judith Wallace and Hannah Johnson. Do I have any further apologies? On the next item, declaration of interests, can I remind members that they are required and or that they have any registrable and or non-registrable interests in a matter appearing on the agenda, and the nature of the interest, they must verbally declare it in respect of any item of business to be discussed at this meeting and the nature of such interests. You are also invited to disclose any dispensations from the requirements of disclosure, any registrable interest and or non-registrable interests that you've been granted to in respect of any matters arising appearing on the agenda. Does any member have any interests to declare, please? Item 6, minutes. Can I ask the council to confirm the minutes of the meeting held on the 14th of March 2024? The minutes have been previously circulated.
Chair.
We have Councillor John Harrison.
Yeah, as a matter of accuracy, Chair, I did attend the meeting, as if you read it, I did vote various items within there, but my name's not on the attendance list. Can you please correct that?
Yes, I think that should be okay. It's on the attendance list. Thank you very much. Item 7, municipal elections, 2nd of May 2024, return of councillors. Can I ask the council to receive the return of councillors following the elections held on the 2nd of May 2024, which is attached to the council agenda? Can I congratulate and welcome those councillors who were newly elected and those who were re-elected again? Great. Item 8, addressed by the elected mayor in cabinet composition and delegation scheme. Details of the cabinet members and their portfolios for 24-25, together with details of the mayor's scheme of delegation to cabinet members, have been circulated to members. I would now like to invite Dame Norma Redfern, elected mayor, to address the council.
First of all, thank you so much. I'd like to congratulate you, Councillor Cox, becoming chair of the council, and congratulate Mr. Scott here, returning to the council, and deputy chair. Well done. And I would just like to say that all the nominations and all the positions regarding cabinet and responsibilities you'll find on the papers on your desk, on your chairs rather, to be quite honest. And I will be making an address and a speech later on in the process. Okay, thank you. Sorry about my throat, I do apologise.
Okay, item 9, leaders of political groups. Can I ask for the names of the leaders of each of the political groups to be announced? The Labour Group
Norma Redfern.
and the Conservative Group?
Councillor Liam Boards.
Thank you very much. Item 10, deputy leaders of the political groups. Can I ask for the names of the deputy leaders of each political group be announced? The Labour Group
Councillor Johnson.
Councillor Carl Johnson.
and the Conservative Group?
Councillor John Johnson.
Thank you very much. Okay, item 11, annual review of the Constitution. A report. Can I invite Councillor Carl Johnson to move the recommendations as set out in the report?
Thank you, Chair. All local authorities are required to have a constitution, a document which covers a range of important governance matters. It sets out the authority's approach to decision making, delegated processes, standing orders, and our code of conduct for elected members. North Tyneside Council's constitution is reviewed at least annually. There's an established process for this review. A politically balanced constitution task group is convened to look at every proposed change in detail. These changes can be presented from council officers and council members, and anyone can propose a change to the constitution. The constitution task group is supported by officers who give professional advice regarding all suggested changes which have been put forward. Following this most recent review, the task group agreed that a number of changes are necessary to ensure the constitution is up to date and that these changes should go forward to annual council for a decision. In the report before council this evening, these proposals are set out in some detail. These changes reflect legal requirements which must be complied with and good practice which has been recommended to the authority. To ensure that our constitution remains up to date and fit for purpose, it is recommended that all changes set in the report before council this evening are agreed. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Do you have a seconder for that?
I'll second it, reserve the right to speak.
Okay. Are there any questions? Okay. I'll now invite members to speak to the motion if they wish. And we'll now go to the vote then. Can I ask for those in favour, please show? Okay, that was unanimous. Okay. Now move on to item 12, appointments, annual appointments 24-25. Can I invite the elected mayor to move the recommendations?
Thank you so much, Chairman. I would just like to actually move and ask you could all agree to these recommendations as set out in this report. Thank you.
Do I have a seconder for that?
Yeah, as per the elected mayor, Chair, I'd like the second recommendations and the Labour recommendations as circulated.
Do we have any questions on that?
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Johnson just said he's seconding the Labour recommendation. The recommendation in the paper is an officer recommendation, which then goes on to nominations. Can I just clarify that as the process?
Yes. Sorry, second the nominations that Mayor Redfern's just made as the Labour recommendations when she moved the report.
Okay.
Sorry, Chair, and a further point of clarification. The vote, and I'd appreciate legal's advice on this. My understanding is the vote is on the recommendation in the report, which is that that we effectively agree the report, at which point nominations are then made.
Councillor, are you intending to move an amendment? Are you putting forward alternatives?
I'm intending to move some amendments to the nominations, but my understanding from the briefing we had prior to this meeting was that the report would be voted on and then nominations following that. I just want to be clear on what we were voting on.
Well, the motion is to accept the recommendations as put.
So these are the recommendations in the agenda, not the Labour nominations that have been circulated.
If, when we get to that point of going through the individual nominations, if you have, if you want to put forward an alternative for a committee, then you may do so, and we can vote on each one.
Yeah.
You can indicate which committees you wish to put forward an alternative for.
Okay.
You may not want to put forward an alternative for each and every one.
But we are voting on this, on what is in the agenda first to note the report, and then moving on to nomination.
Chair, if it's helpful, we can't possibly agree the recommendations as blank because then we'd have no committee place and we agreed that report and would move on to the next item of agenda. That's why it's always the leading group in the council always moves their recommendation as per the report. And then the opposition group is entitled to move their members. We've got no problem with that. So Mayor Redford has moved the Labour list as circulated to Councillor Bones. I've seconded it. And then if you wish to change any members, we're obviously happy to have the vote on that. We know who's going to win, but we're happy to have the vote on that nonetheless. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, in which case, I'd like to move an amendment, Chair, if possible. I'd like to two separate amendments, if possible. So the first amendment regarding chairs and deputy chairs appointments. The Conservative group would like to propose Councillor John Johnson as chair of the Licensing Committee and Councillor David Lilly as deputy chair of the Family Friendly Committee. This amendment will bring us into line with councils across Tyne and Wear and across the country in allowing the opposition groups to hold a proportionate amount of seats on chairs and deputy chairs of committees across the scrutiny function. Failing to vote for this amendment would be a clear admission that the Labour Party are not comfortable with anyone else marking their homework. Thank you, Chair.
Does anybody wish to comment on the nomination? So can we go to the vote now then? On the amendment first. So this is, yes, Councillor Mulvenner.
Just, I'm a little confused here. How can someone who is being proposed actually second something? Is that legally correct? I mean, Councillor Bones has made a proposal, Councillor Johnson seconded them, and my understanding is that Councillor Johnson is one of the people involved in the potential change. So
the second has changed to Councillor Lewis Bartoli. Well, there was Councillor Lewis Bartoli's seconded the motion. Okay, so can we move to the vote on that item then, please? On the amendment. Or those in favour of Councillor Johnson as Deputy Chair?
Chair, can we use electronic voting systems since it's now been agreed and it's just easier? In the last report, we agreed that we could use the electronic voting system for all votes. Since we've now agreed that, can we now use that, please?
Yes, can do that. Do I have a seconder for that? Just
don't need a seconder now. It's in the Constitution, Chair. It's your will now.
So this is in favour, those in favour of the amendment.
Chair, I think we have two members who can't vote for some reason.
Yeah. Can we redo that vote, please? seems to be some. The minus. Well, this is on the amendment. So those in favour of the amendment. Okay. Can we close the vote there, please? So that's 50 against and 7 in favour. So the amendment is defeated. So can we now go to the substantive?
Sorry, Chair.
Another one.
I wish to move further amendment.
Further amendment. Okay.
Can I first of all would just like some confirmation from legal officers regarding the appointment of outside bodies. Appointment number 5 is the appointment to the Local Government Association Assembly. The Local Government Association Assembly has clear advice which states that should an authority have more than 3 seats, one of them should go to the minority opposition leader. Can legal just confirm that to be the case?
My understanding is that is advice. It is not a requirement. It is a matter for council if they wish to follow that advice.
Thank you, Chair. In which case, I would like to move the amendment that you're going to have to move it.
Thank you, Chair. If that's the case, could we would like to nominate Councillor Liam Bones to the Local Government Association Assembly position. Thank you.
Councillor Johnson, do you have a seconder for that? Okay, Councillor Giabartu. We'll go straight to the vote on that item. Can I ask members to vote, make their vote known on that, either for or against? Can we close the vote there, please? That was 51 against and 7 for. So the motion has dropped. So can we now go back to the substantive motion and vote on the substantive motion as it stands? Can I ask for another vote, please? All those in favour of the substantive motion, please. Oh. Okay, can we close the vote there, please? And that's 51 in favour and none against. So that motion has passed. Thank you very much.
Chair, on a point of order, can I just check how permissible it is for members to be completing the electronic vote on behalf of other members, because there were several instances of that in the previous vote. Sorry, Chair. Members are voting on behalf of other members by leaning across and pressing their devices. Can I just check how permissible that is, given that happened several times in the previous vote?
As I understand it, there has been no members raising any objections to the fact that the vote was being interfered with in the vote. For whatever reason, people were doing that. So there isn't anything wrong as long as they're sitting there. If they were happy for somebody to press the button for them, it's fine. Yes, I would hope it's just on the first couple of votes, people are maybe a little bit confused. It's been a while since we've used these, and a lot of new members in the chamber, so they may not be sure how the voting system operates electronically. Thank you very much. We now move on to item 13, the annual report of the Overview and Scrutiny Committee 2023-24. I would like to invite the Chair of Overview and Scrutiny, Coordination and Finance Committee 23-24, Councillor Jim Montague, to present the report. Please.
Thank you, Chair, and congratulations to you and your deputy. So I'm pleased to introduce the Overview and Scrutiny Annual Report for 23-24. In May 2023, Council agreed a new committee structure for scrutiny in North Tyneside. This reflects good practice recommended by the Centre for Governance and Scrutiny. The report before Annual Council this evening is the first annual report under the new Scrutiny Committee structure. It provides a summary of the work of the Overview and Scrutiny Coordination and Finance Committee and its 5 subcommittees during the past year. The report describes the wide breadth of topics which are being considered under our scrutiny function. Scrutiny is intended to support good decision making by local authorities. The new committees have worked hard to develop scrutiny and to implement the good practice highlighted by the Centre for Governance and Scrutiny. In particular, we've sought to develop our focus as a critical friend, and this should continue into the next year. As Chair of the Overview and Scrutiny Coordination and Finance Committee during 23-24, I would like to thank elected members, co-opted members, officers, and representatives of our partner organisations for their support and contributions to the scrutiny process over the past year. Council has recommended to note the annual report.
Councillor Montague. Are there any questions on the report? Would any members like to speak to the report? Okay, thank you, Councillor Montague, for the report. Can we agree that report? We now move on to item 14, the Standards Committee Annual Report 23-24. I would like to invite the Chair of the Standards Committee for 23-24, Councillor Frank Lott, to present the report. Councillor Lott.
Thank you, Chair. As Chair of the Committee, I'm pleased to present the Committee's annual report for the 23-24 year to Council. As Council will be aware, the authority is obliged by law to promote and maintain high standards of conduct by members and co-opted members of the authority. And to that end, it must adopt a code of conduct for members and co-opted members. The current code was adopted by full Council in May 2022. As part of the promotion and maintenance of high standards, the authority has established a Standards Committee which consists of 9 members. In addition to the members of the committee, full Council has appointed 3 independent persons whose views must be sought and taken into account by the authority before it makes decisions on an allegation that there has been a breach of the code of conduct by a member. I'd like to place on record my thanks to the 3 independent persons, namely Dr. Stuart Green, Dan Entwistle and Kerry Roth, for their assistance over the last year. At the time of writing the annual report, there had been 18 code of conduct complaints received against members. There has been a further complaint since then. Of the complaints that have been made during the municipal year 23-24, none were referred for full investigation. We did, however, deal with 3 complaints that carried over from 22-23. In 2 of these cases, the subcommittee found that there had been 1 or more breaches of the code of conduct and sanctions were imposed on the subject members. With regard to the 3rd complaint, the subcommittee accepted the independent investigator's advice that there had been no breach of the code. There are currently 2 outstanding complaints which will be included as part of the annual report for the municipal year 24-25. This last year, there were 7 requests for the monitoring officer to review the initial assessment decisions taken by him in relation to complaints. Such reviews include an independent person, the monitoring officer, and me. The original decisions were upheld in each case following the reviews, and it's noteworthy that there has been complete agreement on all decisions from the monitoring officer, to the investigating officer, to the independent persons, and then to me as chair or to the committee during this last year. Regrettably, I can't leave the subject of standards without briefly referring to our last council meeting, as many others have tonight, when the behaviour of some councillors plumbed depths never seen before by members of this chamber. In my own personal opinion, they didn't even reach the heights of beneath contempt. And I sincerely hope that those involved will take some time to reflect on Nolan's 7 principles before we meet again. In closing, council is asked to note and receive the Standards Committee annual report for 2023-24. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Lott. Are there any questions? Would members like to speak to the report? No. And then just thank Councillor Lott for his report, and can we agree that report?
Agreed.
Item 15, Chair's announcements. I think I've already made my comments at the start of the meeting, so I have no further comments to make at this time. Item 16 is the elected mayor's announcements. Can I now invite the elected mayor to make any announcements she wishes?
Thank you, Chairman. I would just like to thank everyone who actually was successful in the elections. I'm sure you'll all be very, very proud of being part of North Tyneside Council, whichever side of the chamber you are on. And I would just actually like to reiterate what the chairman has said. We actually should respect each other. Doesn't matter what colour you are, whether you're on the blue side, the red side, or the yellow or the purple side. We're human beings. We're human beings, and we owe each other respect. I would also like to thank all those people who worked so hard during that difficult time, carrying out all those elections. And I think it was carried out extremely well. And I've had really some positive reports from lots of people about how well it was carried out. So thank you so much indeed. Firstly, I'd just like to say to our retiring chair of council, Brian Burdiss, and I'm sure you all agree that he's done an amazing job, bearing in mind that he had a very, very personally had a very, very difficult year. And I was quite ashamed. There was a point in this chamber not so long ago where my heart went out to him, but he stood up in a very, 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 very strong way, despite all that. And I think we were all proud of you, Councillor Burdiss. I was looking there, but I know you're over there now, Councillor Burdiss, but thank you so much indeed. Actually, he not only continued to attend many events when all the problems he was dealing with at home were going on, and yet he's told you that he actually got £11,000 for his chosen charity. That just wasn't his chosen, it was Carol's as well. That particular charity was very close to both their hearts. And £11,000 was amazing. I'm sure they're extremely grateful and do great things there. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank all our hardworking employees, from the chief executive, his SLT members, the people on the front line, because I have to tell you, I meet regularly with the leaders in the region, and they're all very complimentary and positive about North Tyneside Council. Some of you may not be, but I'm extremely proud of North Tyneside Council and the work you carry out. So to all the staff there, thank you so much indeed. In fact, last week at a meeting with the leaders, one of them said in a full meeting, we should all be striving to be like North Tyneside Council. So hold your head up high. We may be criticised to the right and to the left, but at the end of the day, this council does extremely well, and we will continue to do so. I would also like to take this opportunity to say to our new members, right? It's a new world you're living in. And at the end of the day, we're all here to help you to get on that journey and do the best job you can do. So don't be afraid ever to ask either officers or any of your colleagues or myself if you have a problem. And if you need to chat, I have an open door policy. So do come across and chat and see how we can help you out, to be quite honest. All I was saying now is that I hope we actually embed in your mind respect for each other. And we don't get into any positions which we had to experience last year. This is a new year, a new start, and I hope we can have the meeting with the chair of the council and actually get some understanding about what is acceptable behaviour and what isn't. So all I'm going to say to you, I know for a fact that the members here will adhere to your request and we will do our best. Also, I know we will all of us will continue, doesn't matter whether you're in the opposition or on this side, to help the residents who put the crosses in your box for you to be sitting there. That's why you're here. And you owe every resident who voted for you to do that. So I know we will all work hard to do the best for our residents. And once again, make North Tyneside a great place to live, to work and to visit. So thank you all very much. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, that concludes the agenda for tonight's annual council meet. Can I just thank you all for attending and once again wish all new members, particularly new members, all the very best for the coming year, the years ahead. Thank you very much.